Luke Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. Buffalo Wild Wings. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your hosts, Nicole Hutchison and Brad Sham.
And welcome, everybody. It's a bye-week Victory Monday on the Cowboys Hour. Thanks for being with us. And the Victory Monday Club does not let a week off deter them. They are here in full force. We appreciate you so very much. We're delighted to have you with us wherever you are listening around the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Happy to have you with us when and wherever you are streaming on DallasCowboys.com. And the next voice you will hear rumbling is that of Cowboys offensive lineman Tyler Smith. Thanks for coming.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
So the thing that it's obligatory that everybody has to ask everybody else is, what'd you do for the weekend?
Man, so I made my trip down to Tulsa to see my alma mater play. I actually didn't graduate, but I still call it my alma mater.
It's
okay.
Well, unfortunately,
Oh, wait, stop there for a minute. How far away are you from graduating?
I'm a year and a half, I believe. Now, mind you, it's been a year, and I haven't done any college work since then.
I understand.
About a year and a half.
Is that something that you want to finish someday?
Oh, most definitely. My mom is an educator, so
my gosh.
She won't let me hear the end of it.
I was going to say, does she stay on you about it?
Oh, yeah, she does. She's like, you need to go back. But she also understands, football first.
What are you studying?
Finance.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually used to be in engineering, but I'm moved to finance.
So speaking of finance, I worked with a guy for a long time who, when we would have conversations, I would say I'm in favor of college athletes having as close to what was then a 4-year experience. I think it's good for them socially. And he would say he was in favor of any college athlete who could and wanted to get out and make as much money as they could. And I would say, well, how is that good for him? And he said, well, why do you go to college?
To make money.
To learn how to make money, get a job to make money, and now you've got one. So it's really basically your promise to your mother that will have you finish school, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I interrupted you. So you went to Tulsa.
Yeah, we fell to Rice 42-10. But I took a lot of great pictures with the fans, though, so it wasn't
Okay.
Wasn't all a loss. There was definitely some love in the stands, and not a lot of love on the field, though. So yeah.
Okay.
That was really it, though. For the most part, I just, I stayed low,
How good did it feel to be back to see your old coaches and things like that?
I mean, it's always great. This past time was my first time actually being in the stands. I had an on-the-field pass last time, so I was able
They didn't give you one?
No, I have one, but I just kind of, I wanted to be completely incognito, so I just kind of snuck into the stands there. As much as a 6'5", 320.
I was just going to say, have you looked in the mirror?
Exactly.
I mean,
as much as I could sneak. So, the jig was up pretty early. Obviously there are a lot of excited fans there. And it was exciting to kind of feel the love come from there, after going back. So that was an awesome experience.
And there are Dallas Cowboy fans there too, a lot of them in Tulsa.
Oh yeah, tons of them. So they were telling me, we got to get that bowl, some other stuff. But it was all good though. It was really fun.
Things that never occurred to you. Really? We need to do that? God, let me write that down
That's
somewhere.
What I'm like, what are you talking about?
And the rest of the time, so was Monday the last week you were in? Did you come in on Monday? No. But you played on Monday.
So we played on Monday. We came in on Tuesday, and the bye week kind of started from there. I like to unplug because obviously, during the season, you're going at 1,000 miles per hour. You're always watching tape or thinking about plays or thinking about scheme or first and second steps. So I took the chance to kind of unplug. That Thursday I went back and saw some of my teammates and stuff. That was super cool. We hit the Osage, lost as usual. They won. I'll be losing though. Because I'm the free money guy. Like when we go out, because I'm like, I know how much my boys get paid. Like I don't want them to gamble that stipend. So we go in there, they run it up. I bet a little foolishly. I double down on 13. I do it sometimes. Just to, I know it's unusual, isn't it? But sometimes I win, so I do that. But it was really fun.
You talked about how it felt good to unplug. Did you think that bye week came at a perfect time?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, any bye week, anytime it comes in, it's always great. But definitely, at that week 6 mark, obviously, it's still a long season ahead of us. But it's always great to just kind of, especially for rookies. Like, I remember my rookie season, how good it felt to just be able to kind of chill after going for, like, those guys go like a full year. Like, right after they finish the season, then they choose where they train. They do combine training, pro days, draft, and then, they move all their stuff to a new city or state, depending on how it goes. I didn't have to, I did move to a new city in the fact that I went from Tulsa back to here. But, this is always my city, so, it was a little easier for me. But it's always great for them just to have a chance to go see their families and stuff like that.
So during a bye week, do you try to do nothing physically? Do you try to just let your body rest?
So me, I mean, I do let my body rest, but I do at the same time, I had a few workouts. Obviously, I do like treatment and modalities. Because you don't want to get too cold. Like, you don't want to, be too stagnant, and then you come in and you start hitting on Wednesday, and, like, you just kind of fall apart. So I definitely stayed in shape, lifted a little bit, make sure I stretched and all that good stuff.
And you're completely healthy now?
Oh, yeah.
How frustrating, as well as you played last year, thrust in, wound up playing multiple positions, and so now here you come and you're rolling into this year, and now you get hurt and you miss a couple of games.
Yeah.
How frustrating, especially with Tyron back, you're going to get a chance to play next to him for the first time. How frustrating was that for you to miss those first couple of weeks?
I mean, it was extremely frustrating, especially the way that it happened, because we came in after a 3-day weekend, so we had some downtime. That was another time when I kind of just I chilled. I actually did come in the day before, and I moved around because I was kind of wary of it. I was like, I've been chilling for like 2-3 days now. Like, I should probably come in. So I did some sets, did some heel taps and whatnot. And, we come in, we're doing individual, I'm giving a defensive look. That's why it was funny to me, because I was acting like a D lineman. And, like, I pull around and do a little loop twist game or whatever. And, like, the way we dialed it up wrong, as some D linemen usually do. And they do the twist wrong. And I just kind of stepped weird. I just remember stepping weird. And I was like, what is that? I was like, it was my hammy or whatever. But it was a weird sensation. But, yeah, it was super frustrating, but, that's just some of those freak things happen. Like, other freakish things that happen this year. But it's all part of, it's part of the process. So, you're going to encounter a little bit of adversity, but how you respond is the most important part.
Could you tell that it wasn't going to be real serious, or were you worried about it?
So when it first happened, like, I knew that it was enough that I was like, okay, like, I'm probably not going to be able to do anything for at least a second. Like, but I did know that, I wasn't like full sprint. Like, I wasn't moving in such a way that I was like, okay, like, yeah, it's probably strained, but I don't think like, I tore it off the bone or anything crazy like that. So, like, just from like how it wasn't bleeding, like all these different type of stuff, like I just kind of felt, I felt I'd get back quick. And for their part, like, they did a great job, our rehab program, just understanding, like, it is a soft tissue injury. We do have to take things slow. Because, I could have took one game off, and, me, I'm kind of a big football guy. I would have tried to come in that second game, but they were like, pump the brakes. It's going to be a long season. Just make sure you do what you need to do with your body first, and then we'll get you back out there.
Isn't it amazing how much an engineering and finance major can learn about anatomy and physiognomy and science?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. I mean, any injury, honestly, is kind of mentally challenging. Who did you lean on in that time?
I mean, definitely my teammates at that point in time, because it was, before the season opener. Yeah. Obviously, we had a big year last year. Didn't end that we wanted to, but I was just excited to finally get some action, because we didn't play in any preseason games, so they took care of our body in that right. Yeah. And I was just like, man, like, I want to be out there with my guys. Like, I hope I feel like they don't feel like, I did something for this to happen. Like I was just out, like, knocking them back the day before or anything like that, because that wasn't the case. But I definitely leaned on them. They understood. They were like, bro, you're integral to this operation. Take the time that you need. Yeah. When you get back, you'll get back, and you'll do what you do. So I definitely, great to have the room that I did and the guys that I have around me for sure.
So I'm fascinated. I'm always going to be fascinated by the year you had last year and how you transitioned. And it seems to me like you're a walking transition. I mean, for people who have forgotten, you were drafted to maybe eventually replace Tyron someday if he ever retires. But meanwhile, you plugged in at guard. Then he gets hurt at the end of training camp, and suddenly you're a left tackle again.
Right.
And now this year he's back, and you're a guard again. And I'm amazed at how smoothly you handled that transition. Did you have anything either in high school or college that prepared you for that kind of going back and forth?
I mean, I mostly played tackle my entire career. There was a period during my senior season where I played mostly guard because we were kind of young on the interior. Like, they were just too light in the britches, and our coach was like, bro, we know you can play tackle, but we need somebody to, have some presence in the center at guard, or else we're not going to be able to get anything moving. So that was kind of like my only experience at guard was like those 7-6 games that I played there. And then from there it was tackle, but I do have experience playing both positions. I'm kind of young to the O-lineman position in general. Probably not the youngest, but I only started playing when I was 16. So, before that I mostly played D-line. So that's where a lot of the the aggression, some of the physicality, more the instinctual stuff comes from. But yeah.
For me, last year you went from being one of the most penalized guys in the league, but now you're one of the highest graded linemen in the league. Mechanically, as far as technique-wise, what did you do to improve? I
mean, definitely, a lot of that was, OTAs, training camp, just using those reps to, make myself better. Looking at the way Zach, handles business. He was gone for a little bit of training camp, but, his tape was still there. His presence was still felt. And so I kind of, I look for things in his game that, I could bring it to my own. And a lot of it is just playing with confidence. Like last year, I had the reps at guard at training camp, so I kind of knew what it entailed. But then, in the season rolled around, I played mostly tackle. But being able to come back this year and just having a year up under my belt, with the experience, with the things I know, I felt like it was a lot of carryover from last year. So definitely, a big part of it is obviously, just being consistent with your keys, always getting better each day. But definitely just having the guys that I have in my room and the coaches and, the body of work that I put forth, I feel like it's really contributed to that. And, the man upstairs is always.
Yeah. What were some of the conversations with you and Zach? You said that he was kind of helping you as far as the film, but what were some of those conversations like?
So I'd be like, hey, Zach, where, when I'm pass setting or when I'm jumping a guy, where would you try to place your hands? He'd be like, I try to get that outside armpit or whatever it is. He's like, I'm trying to get that outside armpit via whatever it is. And kind of in the run game, I'm like, hey, I feel like I'm kind of getting skinny on these doubles. I'm leaving a little bit too much space between me and the center. He's like, okay, shorten up your first step. Maybe if you shorten up your first step, it'll bring your second to where you want to go. It's just small little nuances, but all of it transfers into the game. Everything that we do, whether it be outside zone, inside zone, duo, it all starts with a step. It all starts with that first and second step. And
we are right on the verge of an absolute clinic in offensive line play, and we're going to continue it when we come back. This is the Cowboys Hour at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco with our special guest, Cowboys lineman Tyler Smith.
And this segment is brought to you by Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
We'll be right back.
Go Cowboys!
Light Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back. It's a bye-week Victory Monday. We claim Victory Monday because why not? We can do that. Brad Sham and Nicole Hutchison, our special guest Cowboys offensive lineman Tyler Smith, who is fresh off his bye with a little bit of exercise. And so let's do a little bit of I don't want to say a deep dive, but let's do a little bit of an examination of where you think the offense is. First of all, you're a very bright young man. So you, I know, are going to be able to translate for us common folk how the nuances of the change in the offense affect offensive line play. What does it mean for you?
I mean, at least speaking to the offense as it stands this year, I don't feel like, the plays have changed. Like maybe I think we've harped more on situational football, which is basically where you're at on the field. Like whether you're at the 20, whether you're at the logo, whether you're at the red zone. But it affects us all. Like, if we change the scheme or schematic, depending on what it is, like, of course it's going to trickle down because it starts with us. It always starts with the O-line. It starts with the D-line. And so any changes to the offense is going to affect us. Like this year, just speaking as to what our strengths are as an offensive line, I feel like we got athletic dudes. We got movers. We got guys that can move in space. We got guys that can move guys off the point of attack. We're so dynamic, in fact, I feel like as the year goes on, y'all will probably see us, start to take advantage of more things like that. With just getting in space, like, getting athletes in space, moving guys off the point, like just small stuff like that.
So last week was not a great week for the offensive line in general, for the offense in general. It was effective, and there were some things that were really good. The running game seemed a little sticky last week. What accounts for that?
I'd definitely say this last week we had a lot of unscouted looks. Like in practice, obviously you practice with the expectation that, the looks that you're seeing in practice you're going to see on game day. And for their part, like we didn't see a lot of those looks. Like, we got some unscouted looks, we got some line movement. And with that line movement, you just have to kind of, you got to pick up things on the fly. And that's when you go back to, the fundamentals that you practice every day, first and second step, things of that nature that's going to help you pick those things up. Like there were a few reps where, they brought the D end or they walked somebody up on the outside and we're like, hey, like, that's an edge. Like, we're supposed to bring it to that edge. And so we're yelling, bring it. But, it's a breakdown of communication. If you yell, bring it before the snap, there's not much you can do, right? And so a lot of it is just being on the same page. A lot of it is, practicing some of those looks in practice that are now going to be effective because other teams see other teams doing it. So, it's a copycat league, obviously. They see other teams have success, they're going to try to bring the same things. But I feel like when we get those looks picked up, when we get those communication nuances out of the way, we're going to be rolling. And I'm confident in that.
How much of it is just the fact that you guys haven't played a lot together, and this is really y'all's second game only playing together, and how much is it just little mistakes? How much would you say?
I think a lot of it are some of the little mistakes because like even though this is our first time, maybe playing in a game together these past 2 weeks, we have practiced together a lot. Like for our part, we do practice all the time. We understand where we can be strong. We understand where we're deficient. We understand what teams are going to do to try to knock us off of our tilt, essentially. And so a lot of it is going to be on us to obviously, do our due diligence in the film room, do our due diligence in practice. And I think it's going to start with practice. Obviously, we talked to Coach Shalari today because, we had work today before we came here. But he was like, what do you guys want from me in order for y'all to feel more comfortable on game day? What do y'all need from me to feel like y'all are getting the best look y'all can possibly get before y'all go into the heat of battle and whatnot? And I think, when he asked us those questions, when he posed us those questions, it's because, it's player-led. Like, they want the locker room to be player-led. They want the way we practice to be player-led, And the more we take the reins of the offense, the more our identity is sewn into it, right? And so I think a lot of it is going to be that, us taking control, not only as an offensive line, but as a complete offense. Like just, understanding our guys, understanding what we can do to make us the most successful. Because we can't, our offensive line is going to do what, Cleveland's offensive line is doing or what Chicago's offensive line is doing, because we're all different individuals. We have different strengths. We got different weaknesses. With us, I feel like, we got a lot of strengths, obviously. I mean, we got a great offensive line, a great room. And I feel like as the year goes on, it's just going to be us, taking advantage of that, just taking advantage of what we know we can do the best.
What was your answer when he posed that question? If you don't mind telling us.
I told him we should work on, line movement. I thought line movement was a huge one for us because obviously, I feel like we can move anybody.
Yeah.
But if people
I'm sorry, when you say line movement, you're talking about movement by the defensive line that you were not necessarily expecting.
Yeah, unscouted movement by the defensive line is kind of where I told him, I really wanted to work. And part of that is first and second step. Like, you have a great first and second step. I know I'm saying it a lot. The people at home are probably like, what is this dude talking about? But it's essentially, putting yourself in the best position to pick something up. Like, if someone's coming to you that you didn't expect to come to you, your first and second step is going to dictate how successful you are when you meet that person at that point of contact. So just working on that stuff. And it's such a small fix, but, when you perfect it and, when you put the time in that you need to, the results are going to pay off. It's going to pay dividends. So that's definitely something, I want to work on individually and as a unit for sure.
This is so fascinating to me. You just told us that you played mostly D-line in high school. And it's not that steps are unimportant in playing D-line, but it's the technique is different, right? In the offensive line, those little things. So I know you touched on this, but I'd just love for you to go into it a little more, because people don't realize when you say first step, a matter of a few inches with the wrong foot forward, and now you can't block the guy and the play falls apart, right?
Exactly.
So how do you, is that just repetition? Is that the only way you learn it?
I mean, that's absolutely what it is. I mean, it's repetition and it's practice, It's using every rep we get during the week, because I'm not sure how people know the NFL, but we only practice like an hour and a half, 2 hours max. And those are live reps that you're getting versus somebody. So a lot of what makes me better as a player is stuff I do while we're walking through. It's stuff I do while we're, doing mock game and stuff like that. Because, you're only going to have 2 days of good-on-good practice. And so all of it really boils down to repetition. Obviously, Zach and Tyrone, they're at the top of, their jobs. They've been doing it 13, 8, 10 years, stuff like that. And so they've been repeating these same steps for years and years and years, and they perfected it in such a way that their fundamental consistency is about as high as you can get. And so for me, it's about, taking little hints from their game, adding it to my own. Obviously, they do things their way. I have to find out, me as a player, like, what can I do that
you don't even know what your way is yet.
Exactly. Like, what can I do that brings out the best in me? And so, obviously, they're great. They're great people to follow, and the fact that they have so much knowledge and, just watching the way they do things is super efficient. Like, everything to me is about efficiency. Like, how can I achieve the most in this play? How can I get the most movement while expending the least amount of energy? Like, of course, if you want to go stripe to stripe with a dude and just drive him and just meet him every play, you can do that. Or, you can be smarter than he is, and you can end up doing things much easier but getting a greater result. That's kind of how I think about it in the most dumbed down terms, like I said. I'm trying not to use too many technical terms.
Go ahead and use them.
Like hip toss, all this stuff, but it's essentially trying to do the most with the least, like, if that makes sense. Especially on O-line, like, you got to be smart, yeah.
I've always found O-linemen to be the smart. Don't tell any quarterbacks I ever knew or tight ends. They're a little prideful too, but O-linemen to me are the smartest guys because of all of these little things you have to do. You mentioned Coach Solari, your offensive line coach, Mike Solari, and that's your second offensive line coach in 2 years. How many did you have at Tulsa?
I had 2, and I had Coach Bush and I had Zach Hanson my last 2 years.
So, Joe Philbin's a proven coach. Mike Solari's I knew Mike when he worked for Tom Landry years ago here for a couple of years. But they talk differently, right? They communicate differently. Is the technique the same? What's the difference when you change offensive line coaches?
I feel like the philosophy might change. Like, you know, for me, the most difference I see is in the drill work. Like, you know, every offensive line coach is going to have, you know, the drills that they run you through an individual that, you know, they feel is going to best prepare you for the game. And, like, at least this year, like I said, we do a lot more shoot work. Like, we use the shoots a lot more.
Tell people what the shoots are.
The shoots are essentially like, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's like prevent you from standing all the way up. Like a horse, you know, you were bringing
It's a piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's a piece of equipment that works your leverage, essentially. Like, it makes you step without essentially, like, lengthening your spine. Like, you got to step with leverage in order to get through it, or else you'll hit your head. And so we work that a lot. We work the crowler, which is essentially like a one-man sled. Like, you got the little tackling dummy on it, and we, you know, we work steps on that a lot. And that's kind of been one of the key differences I really felt. Like, with Philbin, I felt like there was more of a focus on just the steps. Like, I felt like we worked steps every day. Like, we still work steps every day. Like, but his was less crowd. I felt like we didn't really use the crowler as much, and we definitely didn't do shoots as much. But that's just kind of like the nuances in between them. Like, neither are better than the other. It's just like everyone has their own philosophy.
And you're a third of the way through the season.
Exactly.
And there's tons of football
Exactly.
left in front of you. We're at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco with the Cowboys' Tyler Smith on the Cowboys Hour.
And this segment is brought to you by Papa John's. It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. The Cowboys special from the Cowboys and Papa John's. A large one-topping pizza for only $9.99. Order today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
You were going to say PJs, weren't you? You were going to say PJs.
I definitely was.
Which would not
I'm
have
so
been
sorry.
incorrect, but they like the whole. They paid for the whole
read.
Papa
Yeah.
John's. We'll be right back with Tyler Smith.
Go Cowboys!
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back. It's the Cowboys Hour on a bye-week victory Monday.
Woo!
There we go. There we go. We're at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco. Brad Sham and Nicole Hutchison, and our special guest, Cowboys offensive lineman Tyler Smith. There's a rumor that the Cowboys are actually going to play at AT&T Stadium this week.
Wow.
I read that against the Los Angeles Rams at noon. I wonder if maybe we can arrange to just get in a bus and drive around for 4 hours afterwards so we can get back at 4 a.m. like we... Never mind, I'm complaining a little bit too much. By the way, we continue to congratulate the Texas Rangers for the great year they're having, and we should also remind everyone, as Game 7 in their ALCS series comes up, the lovely Nicole Hutchison,
I knew it was coming.
who has been with Cowboys.com for what, 3 weeks?
2.5, yeah.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And so Nicole, everybody's got to come from somewhere, and Nicole comes to us from Houston.
Yes, I do. Go Stros!
And last week.
Oh my goodness.
And last week, Tyler, Nicole on Tuesday night sat here in a very orange outfit. As orange as Astro Orange could be.
I couldn't help myself. But, I mean, technically, I wasn't thinking at the time. You know, I just wore it because I felt like it was
subconscious.
Cute. Yeah.
Well, it was cute, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, you're in Rangers country now
I
for a
know,
while.
I
so
know. I have to remind myself.
you better keep that Astro stuff on the down low and go Rangers tonight in Game 7. Yeah, you can applaud the Rangers. Are you a baseball fan, Tyler Smith? You can say no.
I mean, I don't really watch baseball like that, but, you know, I keep up with the standings on occasion. You know, I keep up with some of the standings.
Did you play? You wouldn't have played much baseball, would you?
I did not play much baseball. I did track and field. I ran.
What'd you run?
Before I did 400.
Oh.
Yeah, my coach made me compete in the 400, mind you, but it did help in my future athletic endeavors and whatnot. But, yeah, I did shot put and discus, basketball, and football. Those are really my main things. Like I did powerlifting.
Were you a 5 in basketball? Were you a center?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got foul trouble too there.
But you cleaned the glass, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I was a perfect glass cleaner. Just couldn't put it back up. You know. That's
Oh well, then you know you pull it down and throw it out to a little guy.
That's what I'm saying. But he was bricking too. That's the problem.
Oh, goodness.
If you had not been able to play pro football, what do you think you might have pursued?
I might have pursued track and field in college, honestly. I was actually a pretty good thrower. I just didn't work the technique as much. Like, I did the glide. Like, you know, everybody who's somebody.
Are we talking discus or shot?
I did the glide and shot put. I did the spin and discus. I knew how to spin with the disc. I never learned how to spin with the shot put for real. But if you want to be elite at shot put and discus, you need to spin. Like, if you look at like the top 3 world rankings, you know, I still keep up with the sport, obviously, you know, it has a very special place in my heart. But, you know, Ryan Krauser, Joe Kovacs, and the other guy, they're like top 3 in the world. They all spin. So, you know, you want to be elite kids out there, learn that spin.
I mean, did you ever have like dreams of going to the Olympics and that stuff?
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. I went to Junior Olympics when I was a little kid in North Carolina. I went to state my senior year. I didn't even throw my junior year. I had surgery, so I couldn't throw my junior year. But I went to state my senior year. Placed 8th, unfortunately. But, you know,
You made
eighth in the state of Texas, to me, ain't bad. But, you know, to other
Big
people.
state.
Yeah.
Do you miss it at all, running track and field?
I do miss. I mean, I miss it because you know, at the track meets, you just after you're done with your event, you're essentially on hangout all day. So, you know, after I, of course, won as I usually did, I just be hanging out, you know, my gold medals and whatnot. Just
I love how you said that casually.
Yeah.
I'm just hanging out in my
I mean,
gold medals.
I had to let the people know, you know, how I really was. Like I was wrecking shop. But,
Okay.
But yeah, I just kind of hang out with them. You get a free day off of school. Like, who don't want a free day off of school, right? Like, to go throw for 20 minutes. So, yeah, that was one of the coolest parts, just hanging with the homies, making jokes. You know, I won't go into the jokes, but they were funny.
Thank you. Thank you.
I noticed that you had a youth camp in, was that June, July?
Yeah.
how big is it for you? I mean, this is just your second year playing in the NFL. How big is it for you to just give back to high schoolers that dream to be in your position?
I mean, that was huge for me. Even before I came into the league, like, you know, that was something I prayed about. I'm like, how can I be an example in my community?
Yeah.
How can I give back to my community? How can I show kids that, you know, who are where I'm from, that they can make it, you know, do anything that, you know, they put their minds to. And so for my, you know, my agency to help put that together, you know, the turnout that we did get, like, we got, you know, the first day I posted it, I had to shut down the link because there were so many kids that signed up. You know, I thought that was just really cool. You know, they had a lot of fun. You know, they had some pizza, obviously. You know, we had water out there because it was hot. It was very hot that day. But that's huge for me, and it truly is a blessing. You know, in the future, I want to do more stuff like that because, you know, I can tell how much of an impact it has on those kids. Like, I wish I had, you know, somebody that was where I was from, you know, holding the camp or something for us. But that's just not something we saw at that point in time. But, you know, I do hope that it left a lasting impact on them. Obviously, you know, we're going to do it again, so, you know, there'll be more chances. But I want to make it bigger. You know, I never want to have, you know, a camp where, you know, kids can't come because, you know, we at capacity. So that's definitely something I want to continue to do.
I'm sorry,
No,
Nicole.
you're fine.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
How often do you get, you know, messages sometimes from kids like, hey, man, I look up to you? And how gratifying is that for you?
I mean, it's huge for me. It happens a lot. Like, at least in DMs, like, you know, kids, you know, who are new to O-line, like I was at one point, they're like, hey, bro, like, how do I do this? And, you know, I got to be wise with what I tell them because, you know, every child isn't as physically gifted as I am. But I always tell them solid info. I'm like, hey, man, you know, get out your stance, you know, do stuff. And I try to help them any way that I can because I know how big it would have been for me, you know, at that age to have somebody at the highest level of the sport actually, you know, just taking an interest in what I had to say and just kind of helping me perfect my craft. Because that's what it is. Like, that's what I learned after moving from D-line to O-line, that O-line is perfecting the craft. Like, and it's something that you do every day. It's something that you can get better at every day. And I just think it's really cool to be able to help kids in that way, for sure.
Since nobody did that specifically for you, where did the inspiration for you to do it come from?
I mean, it definitely – I feel like it came from circumstance in a way. But I had a great high school O-line coach in Brandon Harston. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how hard he worked us to be elite. Like, so when I actually moved to D-line, it was after my sophomore year. I got hurt in conditioning. You know, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I feel like there were some unsavory practices going on in terms of summer high school conditioning. Like, we didn't have water, ? Like, what's that about?
No.
And so I ended up, like, either cramping or having, like, some sort of soft tissue injury. And, like, at that point in time, I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but my coach was like, hey, man, like, you know, if you're not cutting hay over here, we might have to move you to O-line. But he was threatening to move me to O-line before that happened. It's just, you know, I'm reliving back in the day. But they moved me over there. And I just kind of, you know, he taught me how to be elite. Like, he had us waking up at 6 a.m. You know, I was waking my mom up at 6 a.m. Mind you, she's an educator, so, you know, she got to be up early anyway. And I'm waking her up earlier.
By the way, will she watch this on DallasCowboys.com?
She'll probably,
during the week?
her coworkers are definitely listening. Like, she worked for Fort Worth ISD, so her coworkers are always listening, always giving her updates.
Well, give her a shout out now.
Yeah, shout out Mom. Hey, Mom.
There you go.
You know, she's probably buying some food for my dog right now, or, you know, micromanaging my life. You know, sometimes you need that. But
It's
yeah,
okay, it's Mom.
that's
you know?
Mom. But yeah, he just taught me how to be elite, man. He did a few years in the NFL himself, and you know, with our little group of guys, 7 to 8 guys, Clayton, Marquise, Chris, Lesra, Blake, you know, the names go on, Jared, like all those guys. These are guys that, you know, I'm going to remember for the rest of my life because we went through trials together. Like, I remember if somebody was late in the morning, everybody had to run 400s for the amount of people that were late. So if 6 dudes were late, you had 6 man makers back to back, and you had a minute and a half to make it. If you didn't make it, you add 1 for every time. Like, you know, the fact that I'm able to just give it to you like that straight up with no stuttering or anything, that's how you know it was real. So we went through that together, man. I just remember it was some of the hardest times of my life. I was like, man, I done moved from D-line and things have got harder. Like, and I just remember how much that weighed on me. My mom definitely, you know, pushed me to just persevere and just to keep going. And through her, you know, I was able to do a lot more than I thought I'd ever be able to do. But definitely I think back to that time in high school when I when the switch flipped for me at least. Yeah.
It's amazing how sometimes events conspire to show us that we can do more than we thought we were capable of doing, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Tyler Smith is our guest. We are on the Cowboys Hour tonight on Bye-Week Victory Monday at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco.
And this segment is brought to you by Albertsons. When it comes to time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
And if those of you here at Sidecar Social have a question for Tyler, be sure to hold your hand up. Joe Trahan will have the microphone. We'll be right back.
Go Cowboys!
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco on Bye-Week Victory Monday. Brad Sham, Nicole Hutchison, our special guest, the delightful Tyler Smith. Can sit and talk to Tyler for hours. Cowboys offensive lineman. Now, all this experience you had in the D-line, did you want to pursue that? Would you, I mean, if they said, you want to go back?
Man, if they gave me the chance, I mean, I definitely would. Obviously, I wouldn't change anything. Like, you know, the path that, you know, I went down is obviously, I feel like the path that God wanted me to go down. But I did love D-line. Like, when I was a kid, I'd probably say, you know, from the ages like 12 to 18, like, I'm not sure if you ever heard of E60. Like, they would do, like,
I'm old, but come on. Yes, yeah. Of course I've heard of E60.
But you know how they would do the E60s, right?
Yeah.
So I watched all the E60s on, like, all the D linemen, like Gerald McCoy, and Dominican Sue, like all those guys, J.J. Watt. You know, I used to idolize them. I really did. And so it was like, I mean, the way I played D-line was obviously very instinctual. At that point in time, you know, I thought I was better than I was. And I can honestly say that now because I didn't use my hands. I didn't really, you know, learn how to use my hands until I got to the NFL. But, you know, it's never too late to learn for anybody out there who's trying to learn a new skill. But I was still really good. Like, obviously, you know, physically I was really good. So when I had to stop playing D-line, unfortunately, it was a heartbreak because even when I went to O-line, you know, in my heart, I was just like, I'm like, you know, I can't believe my coach is doing this to me, man. Like, I'm better. Like, you know, I'm probably the best D lineman on the team, and you know, I'm being forced to play O-line for reasons at that time that I didn't understand. But one thing I learned was that, you know, it was my calling, and that side of the ball needed me as well. Like, that's when I really learned. I felt like how to be a team player. Like, because at that point, you know, a problem with D linemen that you probably see today is like you can be a little arrogant.
Well, I was going to say personalities are a little different.
Exactly, the personality is different. You can be more arrogant, more self-centered. And at that point in time,
Not that you have any of those guys on your team.
Exactly. Not that I have any guys on my team. But at that point in time as a kid, especially if you're 15, 16, and, like, your coach is telling you that you can't do something that you literally have been imagining yourself doing, like, at the highest level, and it's just, like, it can be disappointing. But definitely, you know, I'm glad that I got to play D-line because it gave me a peek into the mindset of how somebody would play me at D-line. Also, it kind of built up, you know, that physicality. Like, when you got two dudes blocking you, like, now it's me on one person. Like, all I got to do is handle one guy. Like, you know, so it built up a lot of confidence in that aspect. But it was just, I mean, it was something for me that was very near and dear to my heart. And like you said, that gave me a rep today. I bet I crush it. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
I'll bet you did. Questions from the audience.
Hello, Tyler and Larry from McKinney.
How you doing, Harry?
Got a question for you that you got to ponder on. Being that we got the flag football appearing in the 2028 Olympics, besides you being part of the team, what other 6 players do you think would be good for the
Flag
representing
football.
the United States?
Flag
To represent you, not from the Cowboys?
No,
just
no.
from the world.
From the world. Are we talking like wide receiver, DB type?
We're talking NFL players
Okay.
representing the United States.
I mean, how many players are they going to have on a flag football
it's a
team?
7-man team.
7-man team. Okay.
And apparently I'm included. 'Cause somehow I'm
Well, yes, we
I'm
talked
in.
about you having an Olympic opportunity. Here it is.
Okay. If I had to pick 6, and mind you, I'm biased. I'm going to just tell y'all this now. I'm going to pick Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb. Let's go Trey. Like, when Trey's healthy, like, I definitely want Trey on my flag football team. I'm not sure about everybody else. Then I would go A.J. Brown for sure. I feel like I got to pick some more defensive guys low-key, but let's go Jalen Ramsey. And then who's another really good slept-on cornerback? Let's go Asante Samuel. Let's give him a chance. I'll go those 6 for now. Can't really, you put me on the spot with that one, but I think those are a solid 6. And then, of course, you got me, the do-it-all guy. You know, I can cover, I can catch. But, yeah, I picked those 6.
Thought-provoking.
Oh, no more fans have questions?
No, we're good.
Oh, we're
for
good.
right now.
Let me think. What's made being a Dallas Cowboy so special and unique?
I mean, for me at least, you know, I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. So, you know, I'm from here.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up when I was a kid. We played Pee-wee games at the new AT&T Stadium. I remember when it was first built.
Yeah.
It was like literally, you know, our mecca in Texas. Like, it was like the mecca of football. You like, damn, like, you know,
Texas
you
football.
play at AT&T Stadium, you know, you doing something. Like,
Yeah.
you either playing for somebody or you playing for something. Like, whether it be, you know, the high school state championship, like, you know, if you're in college, like, you know, the Big 12, whatever championship they hold there. And so it's just, I mean, it's always been near and dear. But when, you know, I heard my name called,
Yeah.
and, like, you know, I would have never expected it. I can honestly say it. Like, when the Cowboys came on the clock, it was a surprise to me in that moment. But I did get a call from my coach the day of the draft, and he was like, hey, out of nowhere, he was like, hey, the Cowboys might be the spot. because I had been hearing.
Oh wow.
You hear 1,000 different things, but I heard it was it could be the Chargers, and then it went, it could be the Saints, and then it's like, so you don't even get your hopes up. But when I saw the star pop up on the top of my phone, let's just say I was in shock. I can't even lie. I was like, damn, like I didn't even talk to them that much, like during the process or whatever. I had one workout with Coach Philbin, and I'm not sure if you ever met Joe Philbin, but he is a master of his emotions. Like he didn't give me an inkling that like, yeah.
Did he have emotions?
Yeah, he had emotions, but it was like he was just like, yeah, I think you guys move, because he worked out me and my teammate CP. So I think you guys move really well. We did the classroom aspect. He said, I think you guys are smart. He said, I'll see you in a couple weeks and we'll reconvene, see what happens. And I was like, all right, there goes my my audition with the Cowboys. I didn't even come for like a 30 visit. Like I didn't see the facility.
Dallas Day? You didn't come for Dallas Day?
No, I didn't. I ended up, because I did like 18 30 visits. Like, so I went all over the country to these different facilities. I did Broncos. I did all the New York teams, Jacksonville, Dolphins, Baltimore, just all those different teams. So I kind of went everywhere, and I think it ended up like my schedule was so like jacked up, or at least it was so packed, I just didn't end up coming for Dallas Day. But that came for me, so.
But you expected to be a first-round pick, right?
I mean,
expected might be a strong word.
Expected is a strong word. I was praying, that I'd be a first-round pick, because you never know what could happen. A lot of guys, they're told on draft day, oh, there's no way. You're surefire. But I was going to be happy, wherever I was taken, as long as it wasn't too cold. I'm playing.
Well, it gets hot here, so.
I'm playing. It get hot here, but
he's from here.
I'm from here. I know Texas. I know how this thing go. But yeah, I was happy regardless. But I was ecstatic, when I seen the star pop up. That was a crazy moment.
Yeah, you got to be careful when someone says it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Until it's like if someone gives you directions and they tell you can't miss it.
You can't.
You're fixing to mix it.
They said, watch me.
Yeah, exactly right. We got about a minute and a half left. I want you to talk about playing next to Tyron Smith. He is not a chatty guy unless he wants to be, right? But he's a beast, and he's a technician. He's really smart about the game. What's that been like playing next to Tyron?
I mean, it's been crazy for me. Like, mind you, I'm 22 years old, right? Tyron is in his 13th year of the NFL, so he's been playing football since before, I was really, doing anything or whatever. But upon getting to the Cowboys, you see this enigma of a guy or whatever you want to call it. Like, coming in, you watch this tape. Like in college, I'm like, yeah, he's one of them dudes. Like, I love to play like Tyron Smith. I probably, I'm trying to do what he do or whatever. But I just found out how much more similar we were. Beyond football, like, he's a powerful dude. Obviously, on them B blocks, it's going to be crucial for whoever's on the other side of that. On them down blocks, it's going to be crucial for whoever's on the other side of that, like, whatever it is. But I found out we were much more similar than I thought. Like, for example, like, Tyron likes comics, stuff like that, just small stuff. Like, the video games we play, like, the stuff we read. Like, I was just like, damn, like, I'm like, this dude from across the bay or whatever, is similar to this kid from Texas. So it was just cool in that aspect of just, like, knowing that even though I went from my college locker room to an NFL locker room, that a lot of the stuff was still similar. Like, you still gonna have guys with similar interests as me. Like, a 22-year-old, 33-year-old can have, like, similar interests. Like, they can do similar things. Like, I think it's funny when I see a lot of guys. I feel like we just little kids. Like, I'd be like, man, I'm like, dude, like, these, we get paid, a king's ransom to play a child's game. And I'm like, man, like, some of these dudes is really just little kids. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, you got a big car? I'm going to get a bigger car, or whatever the case is.
Round of applause for Tyler Smith. For Nicole, I'm Brad. We'll see you next week on the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!